In the hustle of city life, people barely notice the faces in the crowd. The homeless man sitting on the corner, the one whose face is marked by years of struggle, becomes just another blur to those rushing by. They pass him, not out of malice, but because life moves too fast. They've grown numb to the sight, as if they've convinced themselves that he is just one more lost cause in a world full of them. To James, the world had become a place of shadows. The warmth of hope had long since faded, replaced by the coldness of survival. James had seen it all, from the lost hope in the eyes of those who shared his fate to the sharp sting of rejection from people who couldn't even spare a glance. He was a man who had once believed in a future, in dreams, but somewhere along the way, those dreams had withered, leaving only the stark reality of day-to-day survival. Yet deep down, a small part of him clung to an idea, a fleeting hope, that one day something would change. He just didn't know how. On a chilly winter afternoon, as James sat wrapped in his ragged coat, the world passed him by like it always did. People hurried along, focused on their own agendas, their own busy lives. James, with his cardboard sign reading, "Anything helps," had long ago accepted the fact that he was invisible to most. But then, something happened. A sleek black Tesla pulled up beside him, the soft purr of the engine catching his attention. The world seemed to slow down for a moment. As the window rolled down, the face that looked out at him was not just any face. It was the face of someone who had changed the world. James blinked in disbelief. "Hey," the man called, his voice surprisingly warm. "You look like you could use some help." James's heart skipped a beat. The man wasn't just a stranger. He was Elon Musk, the billionaire who had revolutionized the way we think about technology and space travel. But why was he stopping for him? Why was he paying attention to a homeless man sitting on the cold sidewalk? James wasn't sure if he had imagined it. Maybe he was just tired. Maybe it was the hunger that made him see things. But as he looked up, there was no mistaking it. Elon Musk was speaking to him. The words hung in the air like a lifeline. "Can I help you?" Elon asked, his gaze steady and unhurried. James, still reeling from the shock, tried to find his voice. Yeah, I could use $1, he stammered. The request felt strange, almost foreign to him. He had asked for change so many times before, but this was different. Elon didn't immediately pull out $1 or even offer a coin. Instead, he leaned back in his seat, his expression thoughtful. $1, he repeated, nodding slowly. "I could give you $1, but that won't solve your problems, will it?" James blinked, his confusion deepening. What did this man mean? He had asked for $1, just enough to get something to eat. That's all he wanted. But Elon was offering something else entirely. "I don't need money to get by for today," Elon continued. "What you need is a chance, an opportunity, a way to change your life for good." James shook his head. "What do you mean?" "I'm just asking for $1. I'm not asking for a chance. I'm not asking for a life-changing opportunity." Elon smiled, a knowing smile. "James, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is ask for more than what you think you deserve." His voice was calm, but firm. "I'm not here to give you $1. I'm here to give you something much bigger, a chance to build your future." The words hit James like a wave. A chance to build my future? What future? His life had been spent in the shadow of failure. He had long given up on dreams, believing they were only for people who were born into privilege, people who had opportunities from the start. What did he have to offer? He had no skills, no education, no connections. "Why me?" James finally asked, his voice trembling with disbelief. "Why would you offer me anything? I've been on the streets for years. I don't have anything to give. I'm not like you." Elon's eyes softened as he studied James's face. "It's not about what you've done, James. It's about what you're willing to do." I'm not offering you charity. I'm offering you a chance to change your life. The world doesn't care where you start, but it will care where you finish. James wanted to believe him. He really did. But it seemed too good to be true. His life had been filled with so much disappointment, so many moments of struggle, that it was hard to imagine something better could actually happen. He had heard similar promises from others in the past, people who said they could help, only to leave him stranded when it mattered most. But Elon's words, there was something about them, something that felt real. I don't know, James whispered, his mind battling between fear and hope. I don't know if I can do it. I've never done anything. Not like this. Elon's gaze never wavered. You don't have to know how. You just have to be willing to try. Sometimes the first step is the hardest, but it's the most important one. For a long moment, James sat in silence, staring at Elon. The city around him continued to move in its chaotic rhythm, but in that moment, it felt like time had stopped. He had lived on the streets for so long, struggling to survive each day, that he had forgotten what it felt like to hope, to believe that something could be different. But as Elon's words echoed in his mind, James felt something stirred deep inside him. Maybe he had nothing left to lose. Maybe this was his chance, the chance he had been waiting for, even without realizing it. His whole life had been spent running from failure, afraid of taking risks, afraid of falling. But maybe, just maybe, it was time to take a chance on himself. I'll do it, James finally said, his voice firm. I'll take the chance. Elon smiled, a look of approval crossing his face. Good. Let's begin. The first few weeks were difficult. It wasn't just the physical exhaustion of the work. It was the mental strain of learning a whole new world. James was overwhelmed by the fast-paced environment of Tesla. The technology, the jargon, the intensity, it was all so foreign to him. But he couldn't give up. He had promised himself that he would try, and trying meant pushing through the discomfort, the doubt, the fear. There were days when James wanted to quit. He would sit in front of a computer screen, feeling completely lost, surrounded by people who seemed to know exactly what they were doing. He would hear the sharp, unfamiliar language of the tech world, and his mind would spin. But then Elon's words would come to him. The world doesn't care where you start, but it will care where you finish. James kept pushing. He kept asking questions, kept showing up, kept trying. And little by little, things started to click. He learned to adapt, to understand the technology, to contribute to the projects. Slowly but surely, he gained confidence in himself, something he hadn't felt in years. The real test came when Elon offered him a critical role in a major project. The stakes were high. If James succeeded, it would prove that someone from his background, someone like him, could thrive in this world. If he failed, it could end everything. There was no room for mistakes. But as James stood before the team, presenting his ideas, something incredible happened. His mind cleared. His confidence surged. He was no longer the man who had once begged for change. He was a man with a vision, a man with something to prove, and in that moment, he realized that he wasn't just working for survival anymore, he was working for his future. When the project was completed, it was a resounding success. James had not only overcome the challenges of his past, but he had also built something new. His transformation was complete. He had gone from a man with nothing to someone who had created a future for himself, someone who had taken the chance to rise above his circumstances. But the real victory wasn't just in the success of the project, it was in the realization that no one is defined by their past. James had been given a chance, yes, but it was his willingness to believe in himself that made the difference. And that's the lesson that we can all take from this story. No matter how far you've fallen, no matter what your circumstances are, you can always rise again. You just need the courage to take that first step. And sometimes, all you need is someone to believe in you. Sometimes, that someone is you. If James's story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe and share it with others. Remember, the future is yours to create, no matter where you start. You have the power to change your life.